SoCal here, open night. How you guys feeling?
High five.
Yeah.
Congratulations on getting a star recipient award.
And Vann, we're gonna get to see some more acting from you.
Absolutely.
Will we ever get to see Ready to Rumble 2?
Oh, I wish.
Charlie Vann here. Charlie Vann here.
Charlie Vann here with Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane, opening night for One Ranger. First of all, welcome back to Dallas. I've been to this festival before. 2010 was the first time. Yeah, I was like 21 back then. Pretty good festival. It is. It's a really good festival.
I'm here with director Frank Mosley of Hold and star of the film, Robbie Story. Charlie Vann here with the cast and crew of Carried Away.
I'm here to support an old partner of mine, Tom Huckabee, in this film that's premiering here, Carried Away.
Hey, Carried Away is good.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah, it works. It really does.
Really sweet.
It is sweet.
Hi, this is Charlie Vann. I'm here with writer, director, and producer John Lee Hancock.
Well, you're playing a Texas Ranger, and tell a little bit about that process, that research you went through.
I did a hell of a lot of research and had a lot of fun creating that character. I just, when you're playing somebody who's essentially based on real life.
The character Alex Tyree, who was he based off of? Was there any specific ranger that you maybe were studying? I know you had mentioned McDonald, but any modern day Texas Rangers that you got to meet or anything like that was an inspiration for him?
No. He was an amalgam of a lot of different characters, and I have to be honest with you, he was an amalgam of a lot of 19th century, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. I read an awful lot of biographies of actual guys like Frank Hamer and those guys that hunted Bonnie and Clyde, and their turn of phrase, the way that they speak, the way they acted, the way they shot, the way they trained with their guns.
Do you like to shoot in your free time here and there?
Yeah, I'm a shooter. I grew up hunting pheasant with my dad.
These guys that patrolled the border, along the border with Mexico, and they were gunfighters at a time when they were getting into gunfights once a week, and they were using their guns. The guns were worn out when they were exchanged. They wore out the rifling on the barrels because they shot them so much and had so many gunfights. It's almost unbelievable to think of in this day and age.
All right, Charlie Vann here, WRA. I'm here with the cast and crew of Match Me If You Can here at the Dallas International Film Festival. Well, guys, the theme of this film, first of all, I think the general consensus, dating is very hard. I, of course, wonder how many first dates were in this restaurant. Just think of that one. Or how many online dates. But talk about, this follows the story of Kip, who, as many singles out there, has used an online dating, has used an I promise until one day she gets the message that, we always kind of fear, that fear of rejection, that she's unmatchable. Talk about kind of the research that went behind this, and were there testimonials out there? I know like the Knot.com says online dating is like now the #1 that, way people, singles meet. So was there any like testimonials or anybody that you knew personally that had similar experiences? Maybe they weren't unmatchable, but had those same struggles that Kip has been going through?
The writer Betsy Morris, she had several friends that were having weird experiences, meaning not weird like weird dates, but like getting matched with like thousands of people or 3 people. And so when we started to work together with her, we didn't really have to go far because we could just ask our friends and their experience. I mean, we have a producer that had the same experience of not being matched with anyone. And it was that was the extent of our research, is just reaching out to our friends and finding out, because they always say on the commercials that, this works and there's somebody and I don't know a single person who's ever matched on any of these sites.
And with Billy, having this family run I promise. Was there any, did you come across any similar stories like that? Because I feel like that's like a very interesting, a family-owned, dating site. That's a different area. So, and just talk about, just your guys' relationship on production and just being a family.
Yeah, well, Jennifer over here, who plays Ivy, is definitely my off-screen, on-screen mom. keeping me in line. Working with this cast, everyone, like I said, last night at the premiere, everyone was so generous. Everybody showed up and really brought their A game. Marion, gosh, can speak volumes about her and what she brought to set and how she directed all of the talent. It was such a pleasure to work with, everyone.
Yeah.
And for Billy, Jennifer, and Tamika, just talk about when you got these characters, what was the first thing that came to mind about your character, and how much of yourself, or a little bit, was put into these roles? Because all the characters, so much charisma in this movie, and that comes to you, Steve, in the cast here, but just your approach to your characters.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me, the biggest thing that attracted me to this character was that, Dirk is, he's got this outward persona, what the world sees. He's the face of the dating app, I promise, and, which is this, like tough, kind of arrogant, inflated ego kind of, persona, models hanging on him, just, but behind the scenes, he's really vulnerable, he's really sensitive, and I don't want to spoil anything with his life, but that was something that attracted me to him. He wasn't a one-dimensional guy. He wasn't just this like kind of, I don't know, arrogant guy running around, and that was all that was to him. There was a whole other side to him. He was multi-layered.
And what about you, Jennifer?
Well, I think it was interesting. I think I brought this up because this was, I auditioned for this in like the spring of 21, and then actually it came together in the fall of 21, so it was 6 months later. 6 months later I get a call, oh, they want you for that movie about the dating, the family with the dating business. And at first I was like, what? That was so long ago. Oh my gosh, that one! So I was very happy to be cast.
And Tamika, what about your character?
Well, Aunt Frankie, you don't see too much of her because she's on the other side of the family, but she's the heavy. And she comes in like, what? What is going on? And that's very much me as a mother and a grandmother. I have to sometimes play that part and be the heavy. So yeah, and I loved working with Marion. Again, I was on the Conway curve with her, and I had already submitted auditions for 2 of the reporter roles, but those roles kind of went away, and we really wanted to work together again. And so she sent me the script and said, well, hey, I have these characters, what do you want to do? And I was like, being bold and brazen, and you don't often get to pick what character you want to play. So I was like, I'm Frankie. And she was like, okay. And I heard from Steve and Monica that that character was going in a different direction. But then once she pinned me for it, they were like, okay, this is something a little different. And we actually get to play sisters.
We're half sisters or sisters. I mean, we figured it out. Yeah, that also works. It all works.
It could happen.
And Monica, talk from the producing center. I know you just mentioned this was shot in 2021 fall, which obviously, I won't say post-COVID because obviously we're still going through, but what were the challenges with that, like with locations and just everything coming? Sounds like there's some.
How much time actually, anyway.
Well, first of all, it's an indie film, so low budget. Finding everything, finding crew. I mean, we shot in Austin, 2 days in Bastrop, which is outside Austin. Finding crew was very challenging because there were so many things being shot there at the time. I think there were a couple of movies.
There were 6 projects going at the same time.
TV shows, movies, feature films, what have you. We had to import crew really from out of state, most of our crew. And the financial resources that the big projects have, it's like, okay, we can't have one problem happen with respect to that, and we can't shut down or anything. So, I mean, those were really our 2 main challenges.
And Steve talked about, you brought all this cast together?
Well, for me, it started with Marion and Monica because I've known them for several years and have had the great opportunity to work with them on other projects. So because of that foundation, it was really easy for me to learn about the project. I read the script, and when I did, for all the reasons mentioned before, I fell in love with it because of the character development, the storyline, the result. And so for me, it was a passion project as well as anybody else on this project, which not all projects are passion projects. This one for me was. And in addition to the people that I would be able to work with to cast the film, Monica and Marion are really a wonderful team. And to allow me to be part of that wonderful team is a great honor. And we have a really good working relationship, and I am very inclusive in the casting process. So Monica and Marion were my partners in casting.
Yeah, I just want to speak to something you were saying, Steve. He was so personally invested. I've never been on a set before where a casting director showed up be there while we were filming on set, and he showed up while we were shooting behind the scenes to watch and to be there with his actors and to greet us and meet us, which I just thought that for me really stood out. I thought that was really cool.
Well, it just speaks to how much of a family this instantly, it sounds like it became. Well, all right, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can find the podcast on Spotify and Apple Music as well. As always, thank you for your support.